Ratri Maharaj, we see you are connected, but still we don't hear you and don't see the picture. And I wanted to say a few words about Maharaj. I hope everybody knows Maharaj. Hrishikesh Maharaj, all his life, he devoted to serving Srila Govinda Maharaj. And from my side, I would like to say that he is like an example for me, such a stable example who just started his path and he's constantly going on it. He inspires a lot of devotees, and I saw and heard a lot of videos how this temple, which is in Abkhazia, how it appeared, that it was the great desire of Hrishikesh Maharaj to satisfy Srila Gurudev. And this temple in Abkhazia still is there, and I hear from devotees that there is a mood like in Vrindavan. So Jai Hrishikesh Maharaj, and please Maharaj, turn on your sound. Yes, yes, do you hear me? Yes, we hear you, Maharaj. My obeisances, we are on our way. Maybe we will stop somewhere to have normal internet and normal communication, but step by step we can start until we have some connection. We are going through mountains and maybe connection will be interrupted, but we will stop somewhere. And also, Suresh Prabhu is saying that we hope devotees will ask questions. We are sure they have questions, but they are shy to ask So you can ask question in the chat box. You can raise your hand. Please don't be shy. And we always read everywhere, also in Bhagavad Gita, that we shouldn't be attached to the result. But anyway, we do that. And for example, when somebody new comes, for example, we have newcomers, and sometimes I see the newcomers and think that, wow, this person for sure will stay, and we will distribute books together, we will preach. But in the end, this person disappears, and you feel sad because you already was attached, you already dreamed about some result, and it's not happening. So how not to have such feelings? So this question is a question of the experience in spiritual life. We need to understand that we are a long time in this material world, in this life, and the existence of this material life, it exists because we have desire to enjoy and to enjoy the results. And we wait and we know that in this material life we need to pay for everything. We need to do something. We know that we need to have a hard work to receive results and then to enjoy them. So this is like a habit, a huge samskara which live inside of us. And it's not so easy to... Bhagavad Gita starts from that we need to behave and live, not to attach to result. That this needs to be like our platform. That we need to learn to do that. And it's not like we decided and it came to our life. It should pass some time. We need to learn to do that. It's a transformation, and it's a slow transformation, and we need to see always that how spiritual life differs from material life. In material life, we live only for ourselves. We wait for some results, and in spiritual life, we are living for a God and for our spiritual master. And this, like, maybe the wall between both of these ways, and and in our consciousness, if we arise some desire to receive some result, and sometimes we are doing some service, but we're having some motives, and maybe we are waiting for some respect, maybe we are waiting for some good words mentioned about us. So in such a way, it's already also material life, even doing service, and it's even more disgusting because we are using service and for receiving some results. But in yoga, we need to do what? We need constantly look into our motivation and intention, why we do something. From one side, it can be hard, but from other, it can be happy process where we go, with whom we can communicate. We can have on a backside like control why we do this or that, who is in the center of this action, and do we have some interest in that, or maybe in the center is the Guru and Vaishnava and Lord, and we are trying to do something for them. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he gave such simple explanation of spiritual life. He said that spiritual life is when transcendental unit, Jiva, see some desires of Lord, of Master, and try to satisfy these desires. And of course, we don't have desires of Lord, and we don't know how to satisfy the desire. So our task is not like spiritual life, but spiritual practice. The Krishna consciousness is like practice we're learning. On some moment, we were so lucky to meet Vaishnava, to meet devotees, to meet this line, this conception. And for the living being of material life, it's very new conception. And for example, for those who were born not in India, who were born somewhere else, and we were living some time simple life, enjoying our senses, and we're lucky to meet Vaishnavas and devotees who explained to us the goal of our life. And we decided to step on this way. And it doesn't mean we became spiritual. We just started, but longer we go on this way, we see how hard it is to go on this way, and there is some troubles, some hard moments, and we see that deep inside of us there is programs. And bigger amount of people, they even don't know about these programs inside of them, that they living according to this program. And the only hope is on mercy of Vaishnavas, that during our practice, on some moment we will come to this level. And all hope is just on mercy, on grace of our teachers, And when we are praying, we are praying that that our gurus will give us some mercy, and step by step some result is coming, like some changes are coming, and maybe these changes we even not recognize them, and on some moment we even forget about these desires of result, and on some moment we can remember again about that, like it's changes. And on some moment we will see that we are doing our seva already without waiting on some result, and it's like naturally happening. And this period, it's like on the beginning, several years it can be on the beginning of our spiritual life. And when we are beginning, sometimes we're so happy and we receive some service, then more responsible service, and more. And on some point, that devotee, new devotee, because of receiving this service, can feel that maybe I'm like worth something, like some ego rise in us, because we're thinking we're receiving some responsible service, so our ego grows. And through devotees, through some situations, through different people, it will come that we will see that we are not right, and all this ego will be a little bit erased, and more experience we will receive, and more ego can be appear. But Lord always have the ways how to cut off our ego. If we are proud, to make us to be proud less. And Guru, he knows how to clean us from our proud. And in each our action there is a cure to our illness. And the main thing is not to make offenses. And this is like main what we need, like to be careful not to do offenses, and not like because of this unsatisfaction of our like ego, and so not to make any offense. But hopefully Gurudev and Lord in all situations they are helping us. And during years of our experience, we saw a lot of situations. Some are coming, some are going, some are going like and got to the jail, then come back. Like, different situations are happening with people. But it's good if person understand that only way. For example, we were talking with devotees recently, which is chance of all these people, because biggest amount of people, they don't know nothing about Krishna. They have another way to see this life. People don't understand why they live, what for, and they're sure that the way they live, it's normal life, and nothing wrong with that. And how Srila Prabhupada said, the illness and the old age and death, nobody cancels, and always it will exist. And later or sooner, it come to person, and person will be sick, will be die, and then will born again. So Guru and Lord, they are our helpers. But everything goes to conclusion that we need to learn how to listen to the holy name. We are always reminded about that, but this is the key to the how to get rid from the attachment. When we start to listen to the holy name, all these results, they become for us such small and such not important. So Govinda Maharaj was always saying, who realized something on this spiritual life, just small something, they start to live without offenses. They start to be careful, because all these offenses, they can happen just because we're not attentive. We need to learn to be attentive. The Lord is a personality, and we cannot communicate with personality and not to be attached, not to be attentive. For example, if somebody is telling to us something important, we are not doing some stuff and listening not attentively. We need to be attentive. And Lord is contacting us. He is trying to communicate with us, but we are not attentive. We're trying to do our stuff. It's like to talk with somebody on a phone, but not listen attentively and doing something on the side. We all know how we can be not attentive. And the chanting of the holy name, it's very important to be very attentive, to switch off the phone, to find a quiet place and to do it every day, and to receive our own experience in communication with the holy name. It's the main, it's most important. More we will pay attention to that, more we will understand everything else. It's like a key. When we come to Guru, first what we receive is instruction to chant holy name. We receive the chanting beats, and it's not it's not it's not it's why it's done. And sometimes later we think that maybe it's not so important, maybe we can do something else. And if we will remind to ourselves what is main, and we will come back to the chanting, it will be great. The main thing, not to forget about our own spiritual practice, because it is given to us till the end of our life, and not to the end of material life, material body, not to the end of this life, because our life, our existence is eternal, and holy name is eternal, and service is eternal. The environment will change, and we are thankful for the answer. And we have two more questions. And the question from Tarun Krishna from Moscow is asking, the work, it's obstacle on our spiritual life or a part of our spiritual life? And Maharaj is answering that everything which is around us can be a support of our spiritual life and can be obstacle. It's all it's all, I think, about our motivation. What is our motivation? If we are in communication, in connection with Vaishnava, everything else will be in connection to that communication. Everything will be like a seva. If we have some desires to receive some position in material life, that will be obstacle. We used to say about material life that we are living material life because we have material body. And because we have this body, we're connected to this material life. But gurus and scripture said that if we will use this material substance everywhere, if we will use it in service, it will be great. It's all in our perception, in our consciousness. And it's common to say that temple is like spiritual life and everything not in the temple, it's already material life. But no, I will say that living in the temple, it's like specific work. It's some conditions, hard conditions, and we're like disconnected from everything else, and it's good for people who living in the temple, they will be away from some desires outside, and it's good for them. But spiritual life can happen everywhere. Not necessary to be in temple. That's what we are doing now. Maybe our mission, our lila of our days, it's a preaching. We were born in reality where all people are in ignorance. And our task is, if we are attentively listening to our gurus, our mission is to help people to get out from this ignorance. And it's not some ego position that we are like Messiah, that we are like super powered because we are helping. We need to understand this is just a lucky position that it happened that we met devotees and we met this conception and that we received like spiritual way of thinking. And we need to understand that all these people in ignorance, they need help as we were in the need of this help. But we need to understand that our work is not only a way to keep our physical body. We need to look through our work like also field for our spiritual practice, some like way to be tolerant, to be patient. And when we meet some people, we need to preach to these people. Not even people, when we met a dog or a cat, same, we need to if, for example, I saw how the even animals which live nearby the temple, how they change their behavior. Some dogs or cats, they come to the temple, they bow down, they wait for the prasadam. They, for example, cats start to catch the mice and like wait for the prasadam. Such strange things are happening. Like if you start to observe the animals of the holy dham, everybody, like consciously or subconsciously, are waiting for some mercy or some relief from this material life. And so we, on our work, we need to remember of Krishna consciousness and try to share it, and it will be, that's how our work can be useful. And thank you, Maharaj, for your answer. It's very important for all of us who, most of us are working. And Maharaj is saying, yes, all of us have some family and need to work. And Suresh Prabhu is saying how Avadut Maharaj said, like, it's a pity that all of us need to work to survive with such compassion. And we have one more question from Ananta Sesh from Spain. And he's asking, what is position of Lord Shiva? Is it a pure devotee, or is it expansion of Lord Krishna? And Maharaj is saying, yesterday I was listening to Madhusudan Maharaj, which was quoting the instruction of Srila Guru Maharaj and Srila Gurudeva. And he was, and they were saying that to understand the position of Lord Shiva is inconceivable, it's achintya, but like also very common example is about milk and yogurt, that Lord Vishnu is like a milk, and everything what exists is going from Vishnu, like, and everything else is, and there is like lila avatars, some expansions of the Lord, but all of them, they have, there is a Vishnu Tattva and Shiva Tattva and Shiva Tattva and Maya Tattva. So there is some special position of each truth, of each Tattva, and Shiva Tattva is inconceivable. This is like what is between living beings and Vishnu Tattva. So it's like, it's demigods, but like Lord Shiva, he is connected to the lowest part of the spiritual plane. With Brahmajyoti, the place where like nothing exists, not spiritual and material, this like cloud with nothing. And Shiva is connected to this plane and also to material plane, to ignorance, plane of ignorance. And if we will think of it, enjoyment, enjoying the material of life is ignorance. And if ignorance disappears, we start to understand that, that we cannot to enjoy all of this, but ignorance give this enjoyment. And if people are very ignorant, they have like a rude way of enjoyment, some intoxication, drugs, some eating disgusting like food, and living into some impurity. And when the person is going to the sattva position, sattvic, they start to live more purely and to eat more healthy. So Jiva, like person on some moment, decides to change position, and Lord Shiva is like Lord of this material life, like all living beings, all Jivas on some point can come to understanding of Shiva position. Sometimes people are coming to the practice of honoring Shiva, and there is practices which are connected to spirituality, but in Brahma Samhita, which Gurudev advised to learn, to explore, and in this book there is explanation of everything. If carefully, attentively to read this shlokas, you will be inspired. You will hear how Lord Vishnu is he is giving a glance on this material plane, and when he is giving that glance on material plane, he is becoming a Lord Shambhu. So, like, just because of touch to the material, he is changing, and this is some expansion is happening in the world of matter. We can talk a lot about Lord Shiva, but today is the night of Shivaratri. Tomorrow is the celebration of installation of Gangadhara Mahadev deities. And in our temple, we are honoring SadaShiva, like Shiva, the devotee of Lord Vishnu. And we're doing it according to our understanding. And a lot of people are honoring Shiva, knowing or unknowing. Maybe sometimes they don't understand that they're worshipping Shiva, because Lord Shiva is fulfilling material desires, and he's responsible for enjoyment also here in this life, and also he's responsible for the liberation, and also he's on a gates to Vrindavan. He is like deciding who is able to cross these gates to come to Vrindavan or not. Is this Jiva qualified to that, to live in Vrindavan or not? Because Vrindavan is a place where everything is with absolute surrender and dedication, and our mood is very important. And in that way, completely transcendental Lord Shiva, on transcendental plane, he is looking who can receive all this liberation and who not. He is like a security on this gate, and who can come in and who cannot. So if Jiva is accepted by Lord Shiva, this Jiva is coming to the spiritual plane and never come back to the material. And the next question is from Bhaktadat Prabhu. How he's asking how to not have routine and automatical way of doing things in our practice, and to be conscious is reply of Maharaj, that we need to be conscious and to understand the principle of spiritual life. This routine, it's when we come on Arati and we're singing bhajan, and during singing, chanting, we are thinking about what we will do next, that we will later go and watch some TV or something like that. If we are doing like that, that's how our practice become a routine. But in fact, it should be opposite. The spiritual practice should be the biggest happiness, and everything else is routine. Like everything else, what we're doing is like not pleasant routine. What we're doing, just our like, and our like weakness of our practice is like when we are thinking of everything else, not thinking about spiritual life. And as I remember when we came to Abkhazia, there was such period in my practice personally, and I was thinking from what to start. And there was like way what we were practicing, how Gurudeva instructed us. And it's such a place in Abkhazia, like in India, like this temple. The temple, it's like a way of preaching, because people who are coming to the temple, they look how we practice and how we live. And on some point, I realized that it's very hard for me to be on all programs and like 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the evening, midday, to be on all these programs and to chant, and it's like too hard because I have a lot of other duties. And during chanting the bhajans, I started to think a lot, and I realized on some point that I'm not concentrating on the meaning of bhajan, about like what we are thinking, that my mouth is singing, but my mind is thinking and thinking about how I will do the next thing, when I will do, and when I realized that, I understood that the way to cut off this way of thinking, and I realized that I need to be attentive. When I'm chanting bhajan, I need to be very attentive. When I'm chanting holy name, I need to be very attentive and listen to the sound, how I'm chanting. That not the Lord who will satisfy us. We should try hard. Like we will not receive any response, but we need like to understand that that we need just to develop some taste and not to develop routine in our practice. We need to think a lot about all of that. And also we need to be attentive how we are feeling. And of course, how we are feeling depends from a lot of things, like how what we had for breakfast, like how we are eating, what we hear, what we listen, what we read, everything, like what we accept to our mind and body, it's influence us. And sometimes when we are like take a lot of some unnecessary information, we come to the practice like to sing in bhajans and we are overwhelmed and we are thinking about something else. But in our practice, in chanting, we need a lot of capacity of our attention. And if our attention is like overwhelmed with something else, we will be not able to do it properly. So, and also about Sharanagati, about dedication. If we are dedicated, if we are in the moment, everything will be great, because our spiritual practice is to be in the moment. If we will be in the moment, we will be happy. We will understand that each moment is a service, and from that we will be happy. But there is like some things which we need to also to deal with, some problems maybe. So that's how I would answer about routine. And Suresh Prabhu is saying, Sevamukhi, you said about this, you mentioned Sevamukhi, and you can explain what does it mean, because we have 10 more minutes, and how Sevamukhi is happening. And the main Maharaj is answering, it's communication, it's association. It's association with those who have this Sevamukhi, who have this desire to serve. This is the main. And Sridhar Maharaj is saying, to that association, Sukriti, we need Sukriti to come to this association. So, to be conscious or not conscious, if we don't have Sukriti, we will not come to the circle of association of those who have Sevamukhi. So this is like two parallels. From one side, we need to have like to always try. When we're unconsciously doing something, but when consciously we understand what is Sukriti, we can consciously do something, like very consciously to chant mantra or to do some service without like wanting some result. And when we are among devotees who have such qualities, we need also to have some distance, like to be in association, but to be on a distance, respectful. Because sometimes devotees which are on higher position, then can do some service which we don't understand, so and we can criticize and make offense. But when we have Sukriti, it's clear our perception, and we are able to see how against some actions there is some deep spiritual idea of their actions. Because our critical mind can criticize everything, and it can like interpret, like overthink everything in its own way. And we need to try by our own to serve, to be in Seva. And I remember I was I remember some movie about some goblins. And I remember one goblin was always repeating that when they were among the people, he was telling, we need to serve these people, we need to serve. The main thing is like to serve these people. So this is like how we should also think. We need to understand our position and we need to try like to convince ourselves to be in this association. And now we are like ending our meeting. I want to just stress that we should always be attentive how we spend our time, because each second, each moment we lost, it is lost forever and goes anywhere. And if we are not using each moment to the service, it's going to the bad result. If we received initiation, we need to understand that it's like huge gift, and if we don't have any responsible service, we need to chant as much as possible, as attentively and responsibly as possible. We need to try to chant 16 rounds if it's possible. And if there will come like a lot of service to us, then we can reduce it to chanting like to 4 rounds. But most of us cannot say that we have such amount of service that we cannot chant like 16 rounds. So, and also we need to be attentive about apparatus, like we need to chant very attentively without offenses. And if you will chant not attentively, like you need to practice, you need to chant, you need to do that to clean yourself from apparatus, from your impurities. This is like maybe a simple instructions, simple task, but Gurudeva was always telling that spiritual life, if to look deeply, it's simple. And if we are simple, if we just want, if we understand that we are so small, so like, but if we receive how to serve, how to do some seva, we received instruments how to clear ourselves. We need to do that. There is like there is some process of stabilization, and it should go in its over time, in its over way. For example, if we're doing some concrete, if it's not like hard enough, it will be destroyed. We need to wait until it will become like hard. The same with our spiritual life. If we want to stabilize it, like to be stable on that practice, sometimes we need to wait several lives. Like sometimes it's years, and sometimes it's several lives. So we need we need to do what we are able to do, but to do it as attentively as possible, and we need to concentrate on the quality of our chanting always. Very often when I'm chanting, I'm thinking of Gurudeva when he met Srila Guru Maharaj. And there was instruction of Srila Guru Maharaj to Gurudeva, chant, not thinking about time, hours, like don't think about how quickly you're doing that. Like, you should not control the time, like should not try to fit into some time, because it will become not attentively chanting. You need to chant attentively. If we are thinking about something during chanting, our chanting will become automatic. We need to understand that while we are chanting, it's a communication with personality. So we need to be attentive. It's like to forget that we have our own mind. We're just, we need to invite, like, that Lord will use our mind and body as instrument. We need not to hurry up, and the speed is not important, just attention, like not to hurry up. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. И Бхактадас Прабhu, он пишет, Джай Шрила Хришкеш Махарадж, спасибо за ответ.
Bhaktidas is
он задавал.
thankful for his
Махараджа общение, очень действительно практические ответы.
For receiving the answer from Maharaj, and we are very thankful also for all answers and for refreshing to all of us how we should be attentive, how we should practice, and we are very thankful also to Narayani for organizing these meetings. And Maharaj is saying we are also grateful that you gave us opportunity once again today to remind ourselves about important, to share that, because every day we should think of all of it. It's a part of our spiritual practice. First of all, to understand that spiritual plane is full of personalities. It's personal attitude, and we need to learn that. Because in the end, everything what is happening, it's for communication, for relationship. And Lord made everything for us to have this association, communication, relationship. And sometimes we can see that behind philosophy there is emptiness, and it should not be like that. And now Jai. Maharaj is giving Jais. Jai. Our obeisances to all of you. I hope we will meet you again in person. The life and time is putting us in different positions. Now we are communicating through internet. In past we could meet in person and travel, but now it's like that. And we're very thankful also for your questions, your sincere questions.